Hello and welcome back to PA Truck Up. I'm your host Manny, and today we have Gioele. How are we doing?
Super good.
Nice, I love that. For people who perhaps don't know you or have seen you, if you'd give them a little breakdown on how you got into strength and conditioning and where you currently are.
Okay, let's start from the present. Currently, I'm the head strength and conditioning of national team of Slovenia volleyball, male, ranked right now top 10 in the world. And this is my summer job, let's say. On the winter, right now, I'm working as a head strength and conditioning for Rana Verona, volleyball club male in Italy, and is participating to the Superliga. Is like the one of the best championship of volleyball in the world. And right now, these are my two main jobs in the area. So really volleyball focused. If you have to go and break down a little bit the last years, I got up in the job. I really studied to try to get where I am, and I started with focus from the college period. I decided to transfer to Rome, where at the time was one of the best sport college where you can study our field expertise. And after that, I got really lucky because one of my mentor gave me the chance to work with him as an assistant in Superliga. Actually, we are talking about more than 13 years ago, and I was still finishing my master degree. And after that, step by step, like we say in Italy, the train goes by. You need to decide if you want to hop on or not. And came another one to have a chance to work in the national team of beach volleyball in Italy. And that was the beginning of a really long experience, lasted for around 7 years, where I started from assistant of both male and female team seniors. We were talking about Olympic process, where the main teams were trying to both qualify and then medal to the Olympics. And after 1 or 2 years, we managed to create in Italy we say Club Italia, so like sector where you train only high school athletes, and we started from there with females and with girls and boys, ranking from 16 years old till 19, 20 years old. Was the first project of the type in our field in Italy, and pretty much just keep on grinding all the years for 2 Olympics, and then switch to indoor volleyball and grinding also till Paris Olympic. So the main was 2 Olympic cycle with beach volleyball, and then 1 Olympic cycle with volleyball indoor.
Nice. What currently keeps you fired up to go in every day and do your job with the volleyball teams?
Here's a quick word from our sponsor, TeamBuilder. I've personally been using TeamBuilder since 2022, and it's genuinely changed how I run primitive athletics. Writing programs, delivering them to the clients and athletes, tracking their progress, and it all lives in one place. My clients get their sessions on their phones. I see their progress, I get messages from them, and we are able to stay in constant contact and be able to track every single metric that I need. I spend less time on admin and more time actually coaching. Check out teambuilder.com, and if you use promo code PACHUCKUP all together, you get 30-day free trial and you get access to the AMS system.
It's really different from environment, from national team to club. National team, especially the one I work with, because it's Slovenia, and it's really small country. We're talking about less than 2 million people country. So really small. And this small country managed to have this golden generation of players in the last 12 years around, managed to climb the ranking till close to the top, and to fight for medal in European World Championship and Olympics. And the environment is really different. An environment where the athletes really do that because they really want to do it, because there is brotherhood between them, and what pushing them is just the motivation to try to get the flag on the podium and to be together on the flag with their brothers. This is very inspiring. When I came here first time 5 years ago, it was something that really pushed me a lot. And now it's a little bit different. I mean, main reason is the same, but it's evolving, no? It's a process. For example, now after Paris Olympic, few guys decide to stop. Other guys decide to keep on going, and so now we have this really mixed group of veterans and juniors that are trying to mix it up together. And one of the things that pushed me to go every day is seeing also differences between them. There are generational difference, physical difference, technical difference, a lot of them, and help them to hone the process of this merging between two very different type of people inside this main group. And it's something new to me, because usually, especially national team, was this core group made by veterans. So it was a really different, no, but for sure, different aspects to take in consideration. So right now on national team, this is something that pushed me a lot to try to merge the younger one with the older one. And it's something really interesting and relatively new to me. And club-wise, the one I'm working right now, it's really a growing environment. It's not a super top team, like, that you say the name and everybody knows that that team is one of the best. It's not like this. The history of the team is really recent, is really young, if you have to take in consideration the big ships that are on the Italian Championship. And when I came there, the best thing that they could say to me was like, we want to push, we want to get better, we want to improve everything on inside our club, not only just get the work done with a high goal. Get the work done, yes, with high goal, yes, but at the same time, improving the environment of the club. And this was something that really told me, okay, so it's not all about strength and conditioning. It's about getting culture, improvement on the culture inside that place, the people who work in that place, around the area, in the city, the players who are coming there. They need to breathe something different, but you can find somewhere else. And this was really something that pushed me with new energy when I switched to this club, because I was in Poland the season before. And these are the two main reasons right now, the two main fuel that I have in different part of the year long, one for the club, one for the national team. But as you know, probably when we work full time, 12 months per year on this kind of level, not because it's the elite level, just because the stressor are a lot. The thing that you should take in consideration many more than the one you study in the books. So you need to take that in consideration. And at the end of the day, some days you are a little bit more tired, some days you are a little bit more happy. So like today, for example, I'm happy because I did some PR in the gym with the guys, and that's something that always give me happiness,
Yeah, I mean, it's always fun. It's always fun. What do you consider to be important for the development of volleyball athletes through like the younger stages all the way to that national level?
Okay, hard question. Let's start from the basics. Volleyball, it's a team sport, of course, and it's really technical sport. So what's make the difference, especially on the medium level, a medium to low level, is technique. Technical player has advantage, always. And as a strength and conditioning coach, we need to keep that in mind. Otherwise, sometimes we focus too much on our own stuff and there is to lose focus on other stuff. But when we reach the higher level and the more high you go on the level, doesn't matter if we are talking about 20 years old guys who participate into under 20 world championship, or we're thinking about European championship is going to take place in September in Italy, or we're talking about Olympics, doesn't matter. The higher the level you go, And a lot of time you find yourself to test and to see what makes the difference in the outcome of volleyball. And in the modern volleyball, a lot of time. The teams who have the edge on others, it's for some physical skill. They could be maybe faster teams or more reactive team, like maybe Japanese in the national team, or maybe there is some player who is so strong and just with sheer strength can change the flow of the matches. So I think this is why when you reach the highest level on team sport, the technical part it's getting a little bit leverage, and then you can have this. We're talking about 2, 3, 4, 5% most difference in the physical ability that give you that extra output to win the game, you know. And so this is just to say that the focusing you should have on building basic skill, physical skill from the most, I'm talking about 14 years old guys till the senior, it's really, really, really super important because that base, that foundation of strength, especially, you can have gonna be fundamental to build a really high performance athlete in volleyball. That being said, we should say that volleyball is really, if you have to take in consideration other team sports like rugby, soccer, football, handball, it's really heterogeneous a lot. The rules that implies on different position in the field for every player, built with the times, with the years, really, really ultra specialized players. So in every position, you're gonna find, speaking about physical part, you're gonna find really, really different type of bodies. Anthropometry is it's going to be really, really different between each others, and body weight, mass, strength levels, height. A lot of stuff going to be really, really different. And so you cannot use, my opinion, you cannot use the same tools, the same system, the same method with everybody, because even if in my system maximum strength is really, really one of the stuff I focus more on, you're gonna find types of players who is not gonna be the key to work with them. And so you're gonna need to change maybe sometimes radically what you're gonna do with them. And this is volleyball. And you're gonna find people who are not even know how to run for 10 minutes on the pro level. And as a student, I would say pro athletes should be pro in everything, but it's a technical sport, like I said before. They are pros in every motor skill that concern, but motor skill that concern volleyball. All the other stuff is gonna be, I don't want to say like a roulette, but really close to one, because you can find the builded guy or girl that it's really good on and proficient in movement quality and master a lot of different skill. Otherwise, you're gonna find people who really don't know how to run for 10 minutes, or they don't have the conditioning to last 30 minutes on a bike, or they don't have the motor skill to do a lunge in the proper way, and so on and so on and so on. And this is why I come back and close on the first one, having on your hand juniors to medium level players, focusing on the basics. Focusing on the basics is what is matter the most to me. After that, we can think about doing the pretty stuff, the stuff that everybody can see on some social media stuff and say, oh, this is a system is very interesting. He's jumping, he's moving the barbell of 1.2 meters per second, and all other stuff you want to take in consideration. But without the basics, all this stuff just crumbled down.
Yeah. I've got a couple of questions on that. Taking it back to what you said at the beginning, how important for you is it to develop that baseline strength for them to be explosive, to use that, strength and then power production to then transfer over to their sport?
How important it is?
Yeah.
it's super important, but my requirements to move from strength to power training, let's say, to make a general difference, it's that they need to have a technical control on the tools that we use. So barbell, trap bar, dumbbells, doesn't matter. Really, really high level. And when the quality of the movement drop down, most of the time, 90% of the time, even more, I stop the athletes. So if you find me working with, I don't know, under 20, under 19 guys or girls, and you just get a glimpse of the session, it's gonna be probably really, really similar to what you can find on a weightlifting class or a powerlifting class. Depends which day we are working on. And because maybe it's a day we're gonna work on just sheer strength on specific angles, and then we're gonna work on tempo work, and then we're gonna mix it up overhead work with back chain work, also on different tempo constraints. And at the beginning is only that. The transition to power work, it's after they master this kind of movement. They master it in a good way, because and I don't constrain myself on like standards like 2 times body weight or 1.5 body weight for exercises, because I think it's something a little bit too general, useful for information, to have an idea, 100%, but it's not something that I put as just a requirement. I mean, okay, the guys before going to power work, they need to power training, they need to have squat 1.5 times per body weight at 90 degrees on the knees. I don't have this kind of requirement. And after they reach that kind of quality of the movement, I start to teach them, especially if you're young, weightlifting derivatives or powerlifting derivatives similar to conjugate system, to have them different kind of input on moving, let's say, the barbell with the fast intent in a safe way. Because the same rule I say to every single guy or girl who enter my gym, doesn't matter if he's 14 years old or 40 years old with the free Olympics on the belt. My gyms are always free rule, like the Fight Club, It's gonna be safety, safety, and safety. This is my rule in the gym, So, because like I told you before, we need to be conscious as a strength coaches that we are working for them to make them perform. And this is the most important part. Not chasing kilos, not chasing numbers, and be sure that they can perform on the match day. Then you can work during the week, during the months, every cycle you are going to program, and the transition in between every type of strength work you're going to do with them. But they need to perform on the match day. On the match, this is the most important part. And
This is
to close, tell me.
you bring up, and I think a lot of us forget that yes, they're in there to become stronger faster, but there is also like how strong you need to be. Doesn't necessarily mean you need to lift all the weights, and I think it kind of goes back to that bucket filling. And I talk about in some of my presentations, it's like, do all the buckets need to be full all the time? No, you kind of need to see what's specific to them and what they need or lack, and fill those buckets first. And then if they can get a little bit stronger during it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Because one of the time, when I have especially some discussion with a little bit younger player, but still pro player, and maybe they are a lot focused on their strong points, and I would like them to be focused on their weak points. But focusing on weak points is something difficult. It's something that requires a struggle. It's something that requires owning your weakness. But a really simple metaphor that I like a lot to explain this kind of process is the resistance of the chain is measured by the weakest link. It's always like this. Okay, it's a really, really simple one. Okay, we get it. But to explain to an athlete that they need to work on something, they need to work because there is their weak point, and they could be something maybe, I don't want to say dangerous, but in the management of the injury risk, it's something we can take in consideration. And this is why I try to let them focus not only on strong points they have, because it's really good for us. It's really easy for us to focus on the strong points of our athletes. You have a really strong guy on quads and you just put weights on him and he's just gonna grow and be stronger and be faster maybe, but there are some small details maybe on the back chain or on the shoulder that you're gonna miss it because you're focusing too much on his strong points and you're gonna forget something different. So yeah, it's something that I try to take also in consideration, and it's not too easy sometimes because you need to get closer to the athletes to let him or her understand how important it is to work in that way and with the focus on the weak part.
You kind of touched on earlier as well, like some pro athletes can't run 10 minutes. And that kind of prompted the question on, despite them still being volleyball athletes and a high level, there does need to be a level of conditioning in their training. So what do you usually do for their conditioning?
Okay, conditioning in volleyball, we can split generally in two main areas. The conditioning off court and the conditioning in court. Conditioning off court, I generally do only in the club, not in the national team, because in the club, I have a preseason period. It's last gonna be around 10 weeks. On the national team, I don't have it. I have only 4, 5, maximum 6 weeks, and it's not enough to get everything you want to do in a small period of time like this. And the athletes are coming from the championship with the club, so they're really tired from that. Let's say just only tired. And the off-court conditioning, I use interval work on without impact. So I'm focusing on bike. I love the air bike. I love the ski erg for the spot motion. I love also rower for have some stimulus on the back chain. And I'm rotating between this and it's gonna be a really minimum dose conditioning. Interval work for not more than 20 to 40 minutes in 2 sessions per week, of course speaking. But the real, for them, the real conditioning is made in court. And to do that, you need to have the best connection possible with the head coach. This way, you can manage, especially pre-season and first part of the season, to fix the volleyball drill in a way that you can control all the variables and constraints of the drill to dose like you're dosing conditioning work. But this start to create some issues, because for a strength and conditioning coach to dose a volleyball drill, you have at least 2 big requirements. First one, like I told before, the connection and also the authorization from the head coach to do that. And second, but it has the same level of importance, is the knowledge of volleyball. You need to have a PhD knowledge of the volleyball or any other sport you're working with, especially in team sport. Otherwise, how can you understand what are you dosing, what are you giving to the athletes while you're writing your volleyball drill to have a conditioning effect? So you're going to be the ratio of work rest timings and intensity. How can you program intensity in a volleyball drill? You said to them, stay one zone 3, 160 BPM and 140. What the fuck, you can do that? So these two requirements are really, really super important, but they get the job done, even if cost us as a coaches a lot of effort, because you need to dig a lot in learning, in this case, volleyball.
Yeah, I kind of like what you're saying there with the PhD and the sport that you're coaching. Can you break down how you got really good at knowing or identifying what they need to tap into through the development of your coaching career?
Oof. Oh, wow. Okay. First of all, I think everything starts at the beginning with study, 100%. So I think each one of us as a strength and conditioning coach who want to work in a performance field in any sport, at the moment we find ourselves a job somewhere and we don't have this really, really specific for the sport, we need to dig in it really, really hard. And by digging it, I mean study research, listening to the best technical coach and strength conditioning coach on the field to acquire as much as possible of experience and field knowledge from them, because we cannot say maybe it's a period in our field that we are a lot focused on hard skill, you know. So everybody study a lot, everybody do a lot of focusing on system of training, methods, book research, and it's super important. But field knowledge, the culture of the sport you're gonna train and you're gonna work with, it's not written anywhere. The difference between, I don't know, football and soccer, about how they approach a normal practice technical session, it's different. It's different. The timings of the warm-up is different. The hours of the day is different. The approach of the coaches on the first 30 minutes drill they do. And it's not something written on the book. It's something that you need to know by, or someone teach you, or you went in the field and you just discover day by day. And so this is, I think, these are two really, really main topics when we speak about getting knowledge of the sport that you're gonna work with. And I did this because I'm coming from fighting sport and not coming from team sport. I practiced for volleyball for 2 years, but I was a judo and a karate guy. So my main was totally different environment. Individual sport, fighting, open skill, total different. And at the beginning, I did like I told you, so studied a lot, and then I start to ask other coaches, assistant coaches where I was working with when I was an assistant position. So when you're in an assistant position, I think you can put yourself in a learning spot, and everybody are happy to teach you. Not everybody, but most of the people should be happy to teach you because you are in that kind of receiving place. And that was my first 2-3 steps to try to understand more about, in that case, volleyball, and after beach volleyball, and after volleyball again. And then it's trial and error. It's trial and error because you need to focus on what you think is most important part, and step by step you try to understand what you did wrong, what you did good, the feedback of the athletes, the feedback of the coaches, and you try to not only to grow as a professional, but to build a system that is really good for, not for you, but for the team you're working with. I remember one time in the national team of beach volley, since it's the national team, we select players every season, no? And there is this range of players where maybe one season they are selected and the other season they are not selected, but maybe they are back on the next summer. And I happened to work with one guy that we had 2 years before, or maybe 3, I don't remember actually exactly. But anyway, and we were finding ourselves in the gym for the first cycle, strength cycle, and I was giving him a few tips on the squat, and then he's watched me, turned to me, say, "Joe, yes, tell me, but 3 years ago you told me no knees over toes, and now you tell me that I can go knees over toes." He said, "Yes, but why you do like this?" I grow, I change my mind, I study more, and I understand now that if we do in the right way, we can do it. Okay, and this is just a small story just to tell that it is never stop.
Mm-hmm.
Never stop. It's never stop. And I try to find time every season when the season ends to try to have a critical analysis on what I did. And every season I find something different. Maybe the more I go forward and less is technical reasons, technical mistakes that I would change. So we're talking about correction on exercises or this kind of stuff is a little bit less. And now what I try to fix is more about process, general thinking, how to manage the athletes, a little bit type of different data prioritization, and a bit more something that you watch from above, no? And a little bit less inside. But anyway, this is the
I mean, I think that like to be a great coach, one, you can't die on specific hills that, we always say it depends. We just go every athlete, it depends. And I think that's what really makes a great coach is being able to learn from a current hill that they're dying on. So like, for example, I love deadlifts. I love deadlifts for me, but
out on the
you
same
you
team.
you hear a lot now that's like is it worth doing them? The risk to reward ratio is off. So like where I used to deadlift all my athletes and that was my one of my key lifts. Now I'm a little bit more flexible on it because some people it generally does suck for. So am I going to keep deadlifting them for my own ego? And it's like not really. There's no. I mean, I could just squat them. I can still have them do good mornings. I can build up the posterior chain that way. It's really nice to hear when coaches are like um owning up to the fact that yeah, I used to be no knees over toes. Now, yeah, knees over toes.
Today's episode is sponsored by Eccentric. You all know I'm a big fan of keeping training simple and effective, and flywheel training fits that perfectly. Now, I've been using Eccentric K-Box since 2021, and it's one piece of equipment, endless exercises, and resistance that adjusts to you automatically. However much effort you put in is what you get out. No guessing the weight, no loading plates, just move. And the flywheel matches your effort perfectly. Check out the K box or the K pulley at the link in the description.
Yeah, because for example, since on my college time, I did I did a period full on powerlifting and a period full on weightlifting. And I fell in love with weightlifting because it's much more complex, in my opinion. And so at the beginning of my career, I was really focused on weightlifting derivatives. And also in volleyball field, a lot of coaches use weightlifting derivatives. So I say, okay, it's not something that I bring like new. So it's part of the culture of this sport, and I can push through it because I love it. Other people also are doing this, and it's fantastic. And then I find myself there, and I have to witness 2 meters for 110 kilos players doing a power clean above the knee with 60 kilos when they can push on a pin squat 204.
Mm.
And I said, and I watched them. I watched the lead coach. I said, in my mind, what are we doing? What's the goal of having this kind of intensity on this kind of exercise? Okay, just the complexity of the movement. So you're just giving him an exercise to have him more skilled on the general movement. And then you have time constraint in team sport. So what are you choosing to do? It's really, really important because you cannot do everything you would like to do. And so the choosing part is really important. And so I switched from a super fan of, I'm still am, but on volleyball, if they don't have a technique really close to a intermediate level weightlifter, no competitive, but intermediate weightlifter, I don't use the weightlifting derivatives mostly anymore. And I use other parts that are movement, but much more easier to teach, easier to understand. And instead of investing 4 weeks to have a guy power clean 60 kilos, I invest 4 weeks in teaching a guy how to move a trap bar high pull, and in 2 weeks he pulling 160 kilos from the ground, and I'm happy with it.
No, I think that's an important point as well to bring up is, I mean, we only get maybe 4 weeks for preseason to develop skills, to develop, qualities that will help them through the season. The thing is, like, again, I've heard both arguments where, you can develop in season to a certain extent, but it's that thing where like you've only got so much time that you can develop qualities that chase after those adaptations, that stimulus. So it becomes a question of like, which ones do I pick for when, and what's going to give me the most for what I need them to do. We've only got so much time that we can prepare like the adaptations, the stimulus that they need for their season coming up. And it's like, what do I get the best bang for my buck? Like, if I develop speed, is that going to make a difference compared to last season? Or like, it's that choosing skill of like, okay, we were really weak here this past season, so I need to develop this before we do what you really, really, really want to do in like.
Yeah, sure. It's a really hard topic because that's gonna dig in all the different, let's say, styles of working that all our between us and all our colleagues we have. Because, for example, I was one of the guys that at the beginning I was testing a lot, was using a lot, I don't know, FMS protocols and having everybody over at squat with a stick and blah 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 blah. And now not anymore. Not anymore. I don't need. I think I don't need 7 courts testing batteries to know if a guy know how to squat, lunge, or press or pull. I just put him through a workout that it's a workout with his goal, and behind the scenes of the workout, it's a testing for the quality of the movement of my athletes. And on the same moment, I give him a workout and I have feedback on how the quality of the movement and other stuff I could test in it. And this the reason for this was, like we talked before, constraint of time. So you don't have a really long preseason like you have in other sports. Another one is that, like I told you before, the pool of players in a team of volleyball, it's really, really so heterogeneous that you're gonna have if you're gonna test it out everybody, you're gonna have so many different things to care for each one of them, that if you are like me, that you're working alone without assistant, it's starting to get a little bit hard to pinpoint all the small details to work on this kind of stuff. The ROI, the return of investment. So about the two stuff we said before, what I could do to get the athlete actually better, and to get a professional athlete better is not easy. And stuff that comes to me now on my mind, but is not something that I've written on my pillars, but it's something that I actually do without thinking anymore. Maybe you need to respect the body of a professional athlete. I came across a lot of colleagues in strength conditioning or colleagues in rehab processes or return to play phase, physiotherapist, osteopath, and all the figures involved in athletes improvement. And every time, okay, we don't take for absolute. Most of the time that you find a colleague of us or a professional figures close to us that try to fix the body of a professional athletes over 25, 28, 30 years old, because the test gave him the information that you have a hip imbalance, but this type of shoulder impingement you could change like this. Oh, wait, but you can do this on the foot, whatever. Most of the time, you cause a lot of troubles for the athletes. If you want to use a horror story that I have in my pocket, they try to fix the imbalance of a thoracic, of a spine extension of a professional athlete. We're speaking about Olympians. We're not speaking about Uncle Roger. And after 4-6 weeks, I don't remember right now, strain on the abdominal for 17 centimeters. 70, like you get with a knife, you get 17 centimeters, something like this. And okay, now Joe, we can argue about it and say something, Joe, but you are taking cause-effect relationship, you do that, and this is happening, it could be something different. 100%. could be something different. But a lot of the other variables were the same as before, with the same coaches, the same system of practicing, similar system of strength training, a lot of stuff they just changed this type of postural changing in him to try to get him straight, correct the imbalance, and to correct the imbalance, the athletes gets broken. And I have other stories like this. Okay, and this is, you can also tell me, sorry man, yeah, putting things in, you didn't say anything, but
No. So yeah, just keep going. Don't stop that, because I think so. This podcast works because there's a question, there's an answer, and then there's an explanation. And I think that's what I love about the podcast is like I could ask you a question, but you already have situations that's happened. So like I think that helps the message get across is like those anecdotal stories behind them. So don't apologize for that.
okay, because I was thinking about the question you could give me, and I was already answering to that. And nothing. This is just the part where yes, you need to respect the body of a professional. And if you're a young strength and conditioning coach, maybe you're a little bit too focused. You need data. You need data to feel safe. You need data to give you certainty. But our field, there is really, really few stuff that is certain. And we need to be able to move in a chaotic environment. There is not think that we could control all the stuff that we would like to control. It's utopistic, it's impossible. And it's something that we learn with the time, I think, because when we go out of college, we are a little bit more focused on the stuff that we know, and we do like this, and you're a little bit straight when you go out of the college with a straight mind, pushing forward. And I actually find myself that the more I goes on with the years, with the experience I'm building, the more I need to remind to myself to keep it open-minded, keep it open-minded. And actually every season I try to fix something, the stuff I do, and try to make it better and different without any certainty about I'm not sure that it's gonna be better. I'm trying to get it better, but I'm not sure about it. And we're gonna see. We're gonna see when the results are gonna come.
This is a conversation I have often. So this would be the 143rd episode, 143 episodes in, and I think the more I do these, the less I feel like I know, because like it's so much information all the time that I'm constantly learning new things, and I'm constantly getting textbooks and different types of resources, research papers. Like there's so much coming out all the time that you kind of you have to adapt. You have to not be single-minded and thinking that your perception of what you know can't be the only thing that you abide by. Like you have to get into these conversations that are a little bit uncomfortable. Me and you might agree on 95% of what we teach and what we deliver, but it's how we maneuver that 5% that contributes to being a good coach. Because like if we disagree on 5%, but we can understand where the 5% is coming from. Say, for example, you love to seal roll your athletes, and my thing is Pavlov presses. I'm not going to judge you for doing seal rolls because I've not had your experience, I've not had your mentorships, I've not had the athletes you have. I don't know why you came up with this thing where seal rolls are the best thing for you, and vice versa. You don't know why Pavlov press is a good exercise for me. So it's like, how do we get into more of these conversations? Because like when you come out of university or college, all you know is textbooks, all you know is research papers. You don't know the practical sense of it. So like in textbooks, everyone's elaborate. All the variables are controlled. You can't base your coaching on a textbook because it's not realistic. Right? So it's how do we then maneuver that 5% that you're straight out of uni, but actually this is just the starting point for you. You technically don't know much. Let's get you some experience that where there's practical, you're hands-on, you're on the floor, you train your coach's eye. Like how do we build these into developing coaching education as well?
Oof, Manny, for you only good topics, huh? Okay, it's not easy to pinpoint this type of topic, because it's so wide and at the same time it's really niche.
Mm-hmm.
It's wide because we're talking about knowledge. When you talk about knowledge is not information. Knowledge is something that you acquire at the beginning as an information, and only when you having deep inside of you, you can transfer it as a knowledge, and it requires a lot of time, a lot of effort. But knowledge is also how you do this stuff, how you coaching, how you deliver it, and it's not only the what are you doing. And so it's really, 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 really wide topic, and it's something that how can I say it's not easy. It's something that can't be born only in my experience, at least with two main skill. First one is critical thinking on ourselves that we spoke also about before, going through what you've done and analyze it and try to get better. Easy on say it, a little bit harder on the practical application. And the other part, it's a mix of the sheer honesty and humility. No,
Mm-hmm.
humility. It's
Humility.
something that humility it's something that you need to have. Doesn't matter if you want something, if you want everything, or you didn't win anything. I find myself in a I really hard on me. Usually, the critical thinking is really something that I work on a lot, and I was finding myself in a congress in Milano more than 1 month ago, and during my speech, during my lectures, I have huge colleagues next to me. One of them won literally everything in the last 7 years in the female volleyball. Others that were huge abroad, and a lot of stuff. I really mean it. In a moment of my speech, I turned to them with the microphone where I was speaking to everybody, but watching them in the eyes, and I said out loud to every present person in that room that I wasn't the best coach in that room. I
Mm-hmm.
was not. Maybe I had something in my practical experience that I can give to you, and I'm trying to give it to you. You could be athletes, you could be coaches, you could be students, or you could be colleagues, but I'm not the best coach here. I don't have what Marco has. I don't have what Mario has. I don't have what Francesca has, and so on and on and on and on. And I think this type of attitude, it's central. It's
Mm-hmm.
really important to put yourself with the right mindset to keep on growing, keep on learning. No, because okay, you can be humble sometimes, because especially now, like you told me, 140 over podcast, and you find yourself with say, I need to learn more. It's so
Mm-hmm.
much stuff I don't know, but that is more from an occasion, because you have somebody telling you stuff and teaching you and sharing with you. But it's also important that you put yourself in that position before.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, if you are too passive, if you are waiting for somebody to put this thought on your mind, the thought of I need to learn more, I need to study more, I need to do different kind of experiences, it's too late, or it's gonna be too late. So these two things need to happen, in my opinion. You need to try to let them happen together, because you're gonna put yourself in that place, and then the stuff is gonna also come to you, to new discoveries, new learning processes, a new kind of experiences. And
No,
this is a staple for me.
yeah. No, I think so. I often say if you think you're the smartest in the room, you probably need to
In the
quit.
wrong room.
Or yeah.
You're in the wrong room.
No, you should. And again, another reason why I love this is like I'm constantly exposed to people challenging the beliefs. I also believe that for every solid point that you have, you should also be able to argue against it. So, and it kind of goes back to it depends. Like if my athletes, okay, I'll give an example from my last presentation at Formier. We were talking about programming, and like like on paper, this athlete or this client was a nightmare. to coach. Like she can't use a barbell. She doesn't like it. She is scared of the barbell. She can't press anything overhead. She doesn't feel comfortable doing it. So I asked them like, what would you do with this client? And they were, talking about like you need to manage their expectations. They need to use a barbell. They have to press overhead. I then showed them the video that this is actually a real client of mine. Like it's a situation I go through, and I told them, look, no point do I force her to use a barbell. We have dumbbells, we have kettlebells, we have pump bars. Like we've got other resources. So I'm not going to get her to use a barbell because then again I'm on the private sector. If I do something that she feels uncomfortable with, she leaves. I lose money. So it's like we need to think beyond the norms and think, okay, like yes, this is the way we are taught, but if this person doesn't like it, let's figure out something else so that you can go back to your research paper. So then you can go and speak to different coaches. Like you've said things today, like the PhD in analyzing the sport and getting your needs analysis. That's a great way of putting it because everyone needs to do a needs analysis. But having that level of mastery helps you perform your job so much better because then you know exactly what they're needing. So it's kind of that thing of like, okay, there's these restrictions. I'm either going to go down for them or I'm going to rise above.
I had just for the period a similar conversation to one of my new athletes gonna have in the club yesterday actually, and I spoke with him first time on the phone. So the usual screening call you do with the new athletes. And so how are you? What we're doing? Let's start the preseason, all the stuff. And he's a professional, over 30 years old, really important, started six, etc. A lot of stuff. And so we will speak about his routine, exercises he has in the routine, staple exercise he has, all this kind of stuff. And I don't want to say he was afraid, but for sure he was, searching and waiting to see where the discussion could go, to learn a little bit more about my system. And I went full honesty like I do all the time. And I said, I don't know if you talk with somebody else, because in professional world, especially in Italy, it's a small world. So after you work for a few years on it, you have a lot of athletes and ex-athletes of you. So they're going around, they speak between them. It's pretty common that your system goes away and other people knows about you and you don't know that. And I told him, I don't know if you know, but my system is a little bit different than most of the system, and it's not better or worse than the others. But I use, for example, in a standard week, you come to the gym at least 3 times per week, if not 4. And usually volleyball is 1 or 2. So it's really, really different. If you're not used to this kind of stuff, could be a culture shock. But then I said to him what he said before with the example of the nightmare lady, said, okay, I'm a strength guy, so we push. In the gym, we push. But we have goals when we push. The goals define our strategy. The goals define our exercise selection. The goals define everything in my gym, actually, in my sessions. And the method, the system, the tools we can use have to be under the goals every time, not over. So it's not a squat day because, I don't know, you jump 240 times the day before and you have a load on your back that doesn't allow you to push 190 squat at 1.0 speed, do something else. Choose a different exercise. We need to have the flexibility to adapt to our environment. It doesn't matter which environment it is. I'm smiling now saying this because it doesn't matter if it's the private client doesn't want to use the barbell or overhead presses, or it's athlete that has a bad match 24 hours before and enter the gym with a bad attitude, or the athletes who maybe is a bench guy, but he did double practice, technical practice, so he has a lot of fatigue on him, and you need to change something. This is what I was referring before as a chaotic world, and actually these are the easy problem, in my opinion. We are not the worst one, actually. This is daily management, not even the hard one. So it's really, there are a lot of, this is why I try to teach a lot about culture of the sport when I came across new students or colleagues, because all the other part outside of the culture of the sport that you can only know if you are field-based guy on that sport, all the other part, you find common points. You can find stuff useful that you did in another type of environment. You're gonna find it useful in this new environment. 100%, 100%. But the field knowledge of the culture of that single of that individual sport, you don't know anything, and so you need to know. You need to know that in volleyball, the day of the match, you have morning practice before the match, and it's one of the only team sport who do this. Sometimes basket they do shoot around, but shoot around it's usually they do 1 hour before, 3 hours before the match. Volleyball is the opposite. They arrive to the match arena maximum 1 hour 45, 2 hours before. For them, going there 3 hours before is unthinkable. One could say, okay, Joe, but this is not important stuff. No, it is. It is because getting the knowledge of the singular culture of that kind of sport give you credibility, you can say that, from the people around you. And if you're new to that, there are stuff that you don't know, it's going to be harder to build that kind of credibility. And it's not anymore about let's squat or let's deadlift. It's going to be something really, really different and harder to learn and to put in the process.
No, I agree. I agree. I think it's like specifically when you've got head coaches and things that aren't always with your control. You need to learn how to adapt and talk about exactly what's needed for them to get to that next stage, to get to that next arena. I also want to say, and again, we've both announced this, but this is some of the reasons why I really wanted to do that um, leadership and performance course that we both are collaborating on, because it's not just about the getting stronger, the getting faster, the getting more explosive. It's also like what we as coaches can do to create a culture, to get an environment where they are able to reach their max potential.
Yeah, this is something that just say crucial. It's not enough, because there is this wave of focusing so hard, so hard, and so strong on hard skill. Our colleagues and new colleagues and younger one, that for us and that we will live in the real world, and we are working with people every day, 12 months per year. We know that without getting easy check-in of the buy-in from the first moment when the people in front of you, everything else doesn't matter. Everything else really go not on the second place, third, fourth, fifth, sixth place. Because if the one in front of you do not acknowledge you in a lot of ways, acknowledge your CV, acknowledge your professionalism, acknowledge your behavior, acknowledge your communicational skills, and acknowledge you also as a person, you're not gonna go anywhere. And in my opinion, anywhere. All the result you're gonna have is gonna be less 1/5 or even 1/10 of the one you could have if you have all the things we said before. And by going in deep and what is my experience with team sport, I can say another story to you. I know you want another story.
I love stories.
So I need to be careful. I cannot say too much, So I'm gonna stay high, okay? And I was working in this stuff, and I was head of the strength conditioning of the area, and I had I try always to have a really good connection with all the athletes. Doesn't matter the age of the athletes. And I have when especially you work in an environment where you have men and women, and you know very well that it's generally speaking the attitude and approach they have to the job is different, and it's not something. Okay, we're in 2026. It's a little bit risky to say this kind of stuff right now, but I don't care. But they're different. They're generally different.
You also shouldn't be scared to say that men and women are different.
And I find myself in a position where there were few girls that they were sharing with me a lot, because I was in that middle position, like usual we are from the coach's position. they were feeling more comfortable to share stuff with me. And we are not talking about incredible stuff, just some emotion or some conflict with other girls during practices, normal stuff for a sporting environment. And the head coach find out somehow that I have this good connection more than he think it was good for him. With the girls, he set up a meeting, me, him, second coach, third coach, team manager, and he started to scream at me because I was taking the athletes from him. This was the key sentence. I was stealing his athletes, especially the girls, because they were connecting with me and maybe not with him. And I was at the time I was younger, under 30 years old. And I was watching him like, are you crazy? What the fuck are you saying? Come on. I'm just trying to give my best as a human being, as a professional, to help these girls. If they want to share something, I'm going to listen to them with the boundaries that you need to have, and that's it. And say, no, you're stealing my athletes. You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't talk with them. You're just a strength coach, blah, 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 blah. And at the moment, I was so surprised that I stand still, I didn't know what to say anymore because I was repeating myself. And he was speaking, and while he was speaking, he was starting to screaming and getting angrier and angrier and angrier. He was getting up and throw me a chair. He literally throw me a chair. Take a chair and just throw to me a chair on the other part of the room. We were talking in circle without tables or anything. And I said, what? And then the manager and the other came in. They calmed me down and said, okay, I go. We speak again when you are a little bit different. But fast forward 5 years maybe, I receive a call from the same coach. Joe, you want to come work with me? Also, but my main reason was that even if after a really, really super critical moment like that, because come on, guys, somebody threw your chair, it's something wrong. And we, I would say maybe me, but they say we managed to fix our relationship in 1-2 years after, and then we stopped to work together for other reason. And after 3-4 years, he called me again because our relationship was, let's say, fixed, and he wanted to work with me again. Then I didn't have this chance, and I say, it wasn't a project that was interesting to me. But what I want to try to deliver with this kind of stories, we cannot do this work alone. Setting the environment, creating the culture is something that requires the effort of multiple people. And it works on every direction. What I mean is we are in an intermediate high position. So we are responsible for one area, but if the team lose every match, we are not going to get kicked out usually. Usually the head coach gets kicked out. So the responsibility in the hierarchy is the head coach. And on the same time, if you want to build this kind of setting, if you want to build this kind of culture, we need to be in the same boat as the other people responsible for the team or for the group. And usually the other 1/2 main most important people are the head coach and or the first assistant or the physiotherapist. I spoke in a team environment, a sportive environment, because they set the standard in their area, and the head coach area influence on the others. So I can try to build the best culture possible, but if in the other two areas, physiotherapy, let's say medical physiotherapy, or a technical area, they go in a totally different direction, you're not setting everything. You're trying to build a good connection with the athletes, with other people, a lot of good stuff for sure, but you cannot build something that's gonna last or something that's gonna spread through all the team members, both technical staff and both athletes members. And this is so important, and I need to say this out loud because I had the feeling that in this period, the other big issue, other than the focusing on the hard skill in our environment, it's also the focusing on ourselves. Or most common mistake, we think we are too important. And it's not true. Never. We can be replaceable in any moment. It's something that you need to keep on mind. Like, the client can go to another coach, or the club could call another coach. So it's the same. We are too self-centered. As. It's not us, it's we. And these two issues, the mindset of the we and the together with the others, and the mindset of the soft skill, try to start to get that maybe they are the 51% and not the 49%. versus their skill. It's something that, like I told before, I would like a lot to try to deliver on the master we're gonna start in October, because it's something that I feel is missing a lot. And every time I speak with somebody, like we're speaking with you or colleagues or coaches or physio, doesn't matter which environment we're speaking about. If the people on the other side are listening, it resonates, clicks something in them all the time, because you can find it everywhere, because we are speaking about relationship with people. So it doesn't matter if the level of the sport or the level of the gym you're working with. Doesn't matter. Relationship are relationships. Doesn't matter the kind of level you're working with.
Yeah. I mean, I think as well, like when we're doing like further education or courses or CPD, continuous professional development. Like we can always think back to a certain point of our coaching career that would apply to. And I think that's what I'm kind of interested in. That's why I place such an importance of the psychology of coaching, because yes, we help them physically, but we also help them physically. Like we give them the tools to be able to know, hey, this game is really fucking hard, but I've done all the work for it. I've prepared for it. So it's yeah. I think this is what I like about coaches like you and some other coaches I've spoken to. Is like there's always something that you want to talk about or teach or learn or have this development, and you don't stop until you get like this progression of it.
I'm trying. I'm trying not to stop, but for example, the last few years they were incredible about the journey I took. But one thing that I'm missing a lot, it's this kind of chances like we have now, but especially the one in real life, let's say, no, because I'm working so much, because the national team and indoor volleyball calendar are overlapping each other.
Mm.
So if you are an exception like me, who are working both in a national team and both in a club, it's a mess. Actually, it's a mess.
I mean,
So
we've tried to
you
arrange quite a lot of meetings. I know.
so and it's really, really, really a mess. And you never got time to there is this conference in Edinburgh. Let's go 3 days in Edinburgh. There is this conference in Berlin. Let's go 1 weekend in Berlin. Let's go in Rome. Let's go there. Let's go. And actually, it's not possible. And I'm missing that kind of putting myself, no, like we said before, in the learning position and just say, I'm the one listening now here.
Mm.
Throw at me, please. Not chairs, but throw at me.
That chair was going to come.
Like this, and so I'm a little bit on suffering about this topic right now, because really I really maybe 2 chances maximum per year to do this kind of stuff, and it's killing me. But now I'm on a grinding process, so I need to keep on grinding, and then we will see.
Yeah. No, Gioele, really appreciate you for coming on and speaking today. I learned a lot as well, so it was quite nice.
It's a pleasure.
If you could let people know where they kind of can reach out to you and ask any further questions if they have any.
Right now, they can reach me out both on LinkedIn, just searching my name, Gioele Rossellini, or they can reach out to Instagram. Now it's the easiest way nowadays to connect with people. And Coach Joe, easy to find, but also with my name, I'm the only one.
There's only one.
Only one, Rossellini.
No, I appreciate you so much, and
Thank
thank
you,
you for
Manny.
coming on. Peace.
Thank you.